Congratulations to Olympiacos on winning European silverware today. What a massive, massive victory against a team who was up to this point undefeated in the Europa Conference League this season in Fiorentina, who has now lost 2 back-to-back Conference League finals. The Greeks take down the Italians on rival territory, man. I think that's so badass how they are able to lift this trophy where AEK Athens plays their football at, man. I think that just makes the trophy so much more sweeter, so much more juicier, so much more better. And Olympiacos are crowned champions. Congratulations to them. What a massive victory. What'd you think?
This game really did play out as 2 boxers just sparring, man. 2 fighters a little scared to really go for the full punch and maybe expose themselves defensively, because for large portions of this match, man, it was just a midfield scrap, bro. And I was actually kind of okay with that because I wanted Olympiacos to be able to stay in this game. And I think their best bet to do that was to make this game just a 50-50 battle in that midfield. And for Fiorentina, man, they played right into it, bro. They could not string together more than 3 or 4 passes in the final third, but it was all because of that back line of Olympiacos. Every single time a Fiorentina player had the ball, advanced up the pitch, there was an Olympiacos body glued to that Fiorentina jersey. So complete credit to Olympiacos' defense. And then when they got the ball, as we saw against Aston Villa, they try to go right at you. They don't waste any time. There's zero buildup. They just go route one football and try to get it to their strikers. And it's a decent idea because you have trickiness with Podense. And then, of course, you have the best striker in the Conference League in Ayub Alkabi.
What a performance, man.
And what a performance.
What a season.
What a season. And we'll get to that beautiful moment in a bit. But for Olympiacos, I was actually completely fine with the way that they ultimately approached this entire match, because I think it was just going to better suit their chances. I think I'm just more so disappointed with Fiorentina because, bro, like, I understand it. It's going to be a scrap, but for the game's 90 minutes long. You have to be able to figure it out and adapt to a physical game like this. But ultimately, they couldn't, man. Giacomo Bonaventura and the other midfielder Mondragora, I really expected them to find some sort of space, some sort of joy in that midfield, but no, they got gobbled up by that Olympiacos midfield and defensive line. But I guess the positive side from Fiorentina's performance here is they were just as good defensively. They couldn't get going offensively, but at least they were up for the scrap that Olympiacos posed to them. So I'll give them that credit because, I mean, yes, this game almost went to penalties.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that Olympiacos dominated here, because they really didn't. This really was one of the most even finals I've seen in a while, because it probably should have gone to penalties, but it was that moment late in the match with 3 minutes left on the clock, a really nice cross into the box. Ayub Alkabi, man, sneaks right in front of the Fiorentina defender and just gets it in. He just wanted it more and gets the deftest of touches to put it past the Fiorentina keeper. Olympiacos 1-0, and it was pure ecstasy, man.
Pure ecstasy. The scenes were so beautiful. 11 goals in the Europa Conference League this season. He had done the same against Aston Villa too, putting in a really good performance, scoring important goals. Here he is doing it again, and the crowd just went crazy, man. The atmosphere, to be fair, was lit the entire time, man. Like the Olympiacos fans and even the few Fiorentina fans that did come out did show their support as expected, man. It's a European final. These atmospheres are always so good, but the scenes were just miraculous, man. The way that Gabi took off his shirt and celebrated. And just to kind of jump on what you highlighted, I agree, man. Like, there was something that the commentator said that I actually think represents the game really well, is that this really wasn't a pretty game from either side. It wasn't a pretty game, but it's a final, and ultimately that's not what's going to be remembered if you end up winning it. And that's the game plan that Fiorentina went in with it, hoping that they could do it, and it didn't work out for them. But it's Olympiacos who ended up getting that important goal to seal the victory. Wasn't pretty, but at the end of the day, it was deserved because they put in a great defensive performance and they had their chances, bro. Extra time wise, I thought they were way better in the first half of extra time. And then it kind of slightly shifted in the second, but then they showed that they're still able to pounce on opportunities when it was presented to them, and they got it, bro. So I think it's deserved for Olympiacos to lift this trophy. Is it their first European silverware of all time?
All time. This was also their first European finals appearance.
Right. It's Fiorentina who hadn't won like in 60 years.
Yeah.
Okay, but Olympiacos, this is the first one ever.
Ever, bro. They made history tonight.
Wow.
They made history.
That's why with this specific tournament, this is the only tournament that I'll ask this question with, because speaking broadly, we've debated a lot on the show whether this should be considered a major trophy, and we have our comments on that. But I don't think that's fair to the teams that participate in this tournament specifically. For example, if Chelsea had been in the final today and won it, wouldn't be a major trophy. Be a mini trophy, bro.
Right.
Winning the Europa Conference League for a side like Chelsea that has Champions League prestige, for example, I don't think that's a big trophy. So I have to adjust the question, and I have to ask it based on the team that won it. Is this a major trophy for Olympiacos?
Dude, and I want to know what the fans think, by the way. So please comment down below because I am so curious to know what everybody thinks about the Conference League in general because, dude, I'm having the same question. Is this a really big moment for Olympiacos, or is this just a really good job well done? You go to the final in a third-tier continental competition, and you do win it. That is big. But it's just the idea that it's a third tier, dude. Like that, I don't know. I get confused sometimes, too, because you're right. Like, if Chelsea get here, then it's not a big trophy. No. But then I get a little annoyed that Chelsea could qualify for this tournament then. Yeah. I feel like maybe this tournament could be cooler if they just only made it like the mid-tier European leagues maybe.
I don't know, man, because Aston Villa kind of disappointed. They should be lifting the trophy right now if we're looking at squad value.
Absolutely. But the thing is, Olympiacos outplayed them.
Yeah, they had to go through them.
So then, but that's the thing. And then we kind of say that, Aston Villa is just the Conference League. They did ultimately fuck up, but it's kind of okay. I don't know. This whole Conference League debate, I get confused, bro. I get confused with the weight of it.
I think it's a major trophy for Olympiacos. I do. Third tier, you're right. I think the weight of the word European is so strong in this conversation. European trophy. For Olympiacos, I say yes. I'm starting to question that West Ham victory now a little bit.
See, that's the thing.
That's where I'm starting to get a little questionable. But for Olympiacos, it's not a top 5 league, man. I got to give it to them.
I know, but I just hate that there's exceptions then, I guess. And that's a personal problem.
But that's what we have to do with this. That's what I'm saying. We don't do this with the Europa League. We don't do this with Champions League.
We don't.
Only Conference League. I think we got to ask it based on the team that won it.
That's
for Olympiacos, I think it's deserved. I think it is a major trophy. Their fans are going to be celebrating in the streets all night. I think it's going to get the same treatment as if they won the UEFA Champions League. But it definitely sparks a really interesting conversation, man.
Absolutely. And just another fun narrative here for Olympiacos. Jose Luis Mendilibar wins his second European title in a row. Because he won last year with Sevilla.
He was a Sevilla coach.
He won the Europa League last year. Goes to Olympiacos this year. Wins the damn Conference League. So he's got a hell of a track record. And if a team's looking to win some European titles, maybe you sign him next year, man.
What does
Seriously.
that say about him, man?
It's pretty
to be
crazy.
able to do it in Greece with a Greek team, no disrespect. I mean, it's not Sevilla, man. Yeah. It's not Sevilla. It's not the same squad value. It's not the same league that they're in. That's super impressive.
Yeah.
What if he does it a third time?
That would be really cool. In a row. Like, if he stays with Olympiacos or if he goes elsewhere, I'll definitely be watching that European journey because you just never know. Mendilibar might be onto something. But just in general, to close out here for Olympiacos, I absolutely love how they've built this squad because when you really look at it, they're all really good players. And you could see this team, honestly, probably outside of Greece performing really well, maybe in a slightly higher league. That's the type of players that they have on this team. So it doesn't surprise me that they were able to come together and make it to a final. But I just love that they got creative with some of their signings. I mean, they have a Copa Libertadores winner in Rodinei. That's genius. You have Vélez Sarsfield Ortega on the other side. He was in the Copa Libertadores one when Vélez went all the way to the semifinal. That's another just really good signing. And I wish more mid-table teams like in Spain or Italy would try to go for these type of players because they always try to go for the bigger names. Mm-hmm. But why not go with the names that are tried and true in South America, but maybe they're not ready for the big leagues yet. Mm-hmm. Go to Olympiacos, win a trophy, win a continental title. It's genius. And then the European players that they have too, like Chiquinho. I mean, he's a Benfica product. Didn't fully pan out the way that it was probably supposed to, but he's still got a lot of skill and he had a great game today. It's the same thing with the Moroccan striker El Gabi. Like his career ultimately never really panned out at the highest level, but at this level with these type of players around him, he's really successful. So I'm just saying, big shout out to Olympiacos scouting team to put this really unique but creative and talented team together because I honestly think that more teams across Europe could pull something like this off.
I will actually extend it. I'd say Greece, the top teams in Greece actually have a very similar game plan because we've had a number of Mexicans play in the Greek league, surprisingly. even coached Matias Almeida, not Mexican, but coaching once in Liga MX, coaching Athens, Oribe Peralta playing for Athens, and then you look at Olympiacos, they had Pulido at one point.
Yeah,
like they back at his peak too. Like they had the intuition to want to go for a player that was thriving in Liga MX, a CONCACAF player, and bringing him over to Europe.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people highlight Portugal and the Netherlands as a destination for North and South Americans, but Greece has kind of been doing the same thing, but on a way more low key. And it's cool to see that it's actually been working for them, at least here in the Europa Conference League, where they're able to lift a trophy with a really interesting mix of players all around. So I agree. It's a really cool thing to note. As for Fiorentina, where do you go from here, man?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah,
What's
man.
going on, man?
This is frustrating for them.
We're talking about the weight of the trophy. What does the weight of losing twice back-to-back in the Europa Conference League final actually have? Is that concerning, or is that just the way this thing goes?
I would be a little concerned, man, because I thought their performance today just overall was a little disappointing. Again, though, the Olympiacos defense made it that way, but you have these players that have had such storied careers in Serie A, like Bonaventura, like Mandragora. Biraghi, the left back, he's been touted as just one of the better, most consistent attacking fullbacks in Italy, and then he, has a dud today. It's just, I would say it's more concerning than not. They don't show up in finals, bro.
Yeah,
these players just do not show up when it matters most. That's what I'm getting out of this from 2 finals lost for Fiorentina. They're great in mid-season. They're great in regular knockout stage games against mid-tier Europe, but put a little pressure on them, and then suddenly they cave, bro.
I would love to know what the rivals of Fiorentina are like, what nicknames they're starting to come up with, like the curse that they're starting to create within finals, because the inability to win 2 Europa Conference Leagues, I think, is concerning, man. What the hell is that about? You're a top team in Serie A, maybe not like top 4, but you're always in that 4 to 6 to 8 range.
Yeah.
You should be good enough to win this competition if you make it to the final. And the fact that they were undefeated going into this game, and in my opinion, the favorite, they end up disappointing, bro. I think that's a little concerning.
They had 2 massive chances in the regular 90 minutes. In the first half, Bonaventura, the ball pops up perfectly for him, like 12 yards out. It's the perfect shooting distance. And he whiffs it essentially, and it goes straight to the keeper. Really big missed opportunity there. And then in the second half, really good combination play. Finally, the ball ends up going to Kwame, but the pass was just too bouncy, and then he doesn't make good connection with it, ends up driving into the ground, and Zolakis makes a weird save, and he had a bunch of weird saves tonight, by the way, but it ended up working out for him. He kept a clean sheet.
Yes, sir.
But I just think Fiorentina honestly had more better chances than Olympiacos ultimately. They just were the opposite of clinical with them.
Yeah. No, what a victory in rival territory. I can't get over that, man. I just imagine fucking Barca lifting a Champions League at the Bernabeu, man. It's just a crazy idea, crazy concept. Congratulations to Olympiacos, and welcome to the Europa League with this victory.